Hi everyone. This is a chat with Becca Tracey from the Uncaged Life, and we're just going to have a chat today about what people kind of like do wrong in their businesses, especially when they're starting. And I see it loads with people who like follow me and like what I'm teaching. And Becca is like the expert at sorting out that stuff and getting it working so that you have clients coming in. And she's doing launching her signature program, Uncage Your Business, at the moment. And we're also going to have a little bit of a chat about that and bonuses that I've got if you join through me. And it's honestly the first course I did that changed everything in my business that worked.
I know. Before you had your current business, which I think is really cool.
It was the first proper. We'll talk about this is just going to be messy. Like, I'm in a hotel room in Portland. I'm sat on the floor. This is the thing that stops the door banging.
I thought it was the people, and I was like, why are you
no, this is the thing that stops the door banging when you open it. Like, I'm sat on the floor in the corner because there is stuff everywhere. We just flew in. This is what business can be like, though. Like, the fact that I can get Wi-Fi and chat to you about business stuff. Like, I'm taking 2 weeks off. I'm traveling around America, following my favorite band on tour, and my business is still working, and I can still do that. Like, that's how it can be when it's working.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a launch, and I'm spending most of the days just hugging my dog.
Oh,
she's had a really big surgery, and so all day I'm like, I should be writing emails. No, I should just be cuddling rhubarb on the couch right now. So yeah, a lot of time spent doing that.
It's so once you've got it working and you've got the momentum and you know what you're doing and you know where to focus. This is actually a really good segue, because when you know where to focus your energies and attention and you don't feel like you're having to do all the things, then you can prioritize. Like, I've got half an hour today and this is a priority for me to do, not social media or something like that doesn't have like a reward in the same way, because I know what I need to do each day. It's a priorities thing, which saves you so much time. So
yeah.
Do you want to just,
Yeah, well, and from that, what often happens, as I'm sure that, well, you know for sure, because you work with people's businesses, you work in people's businesses, but a lot of the times when you're just starting, you don't know what the important things are, right? And so you read blog posts and you Google and you try to figure it out, and people are telling you need to make, a Pinterest board, and then you need to make Instagram quotes with a bunch of hashtags, and you got to get your email list set up. You got to have an email list, and you got to have, so you're like, you have a lot of things to do, but it's really, really hard to actually not even prioritize. It's just hard to know which ones are actually useful or not.
It's true.
So
yeah.
You do all of them and nothing works usually.
Yeah.
And then you get frustrated. So that's the pattern that I see a lot.
Me too. So as a VA, when I was working as a VA, I don't really work as a VA anymore, but when I was working as a VA, you get these task lists, like tasks to do. And I'm just like,
why?
You're just creating work for your VA. Like, you don't care. I don't care. Your potential clients definitely don't care. Like, I can make you all the graphics in the world, and no matter how many quote graphics you make, not going to actually lead to clients. Like, it's just not. It's just creating noise. And I think it's often because people don't. It's not knowing what you're meant to be doing, but it's really not knowing what you're trying to be saying, what you're trying to put out there. Like, people create content and just noise. Like, they have to have this presence, they have to do this stuff, but they don't really know what they're meant to be saying because they haven't yet got the messaging.
Yeah.
It's one of the things you're an absolute expert at. Like, we had, like, when I did Uncage Your Business, we had, I think it was in the second group.
It was like
call.
Early on. Yeah.
It was in the second group call, and you just like, this was when I had a business before this business, young people, chronic illness, and just the focus on positivity, like the speed at which you got to what I was actually trying to say was crazy. And that's what all the UIB alumni sort of talk about, the speed at which they can become clear. And then once you know what you're saying, I can create social media. Oh, my headphone fell out. You can create social media posts. And yes, you can, write blog posts and do all that stuff because you actually know what you're saying rather than trying to say everything.
Yeah, and it's going to work, right? So I think that it's like you said, people spend a lot of time creating all the things, but without focus. Focus is like my new favorite F word.
Oh my God, I love that.
If you don't have the focus, all of that stuff is just, like you said, it's noise, it's busy work, and it's fine, right? People might be noticing it, but they're not noticing it in a consistent way. So they see you put one thing and then another thing, and like they don't really quite understand what you do. And so it's funny, the stuff with messaging, that's a huge part of what I do in Uncage Your Business, obviously. And the program's changed a lot since you've been in it, but that's still like the crux of the whole thing. And it's funny because to me, I can talk to someone for 30 seconds and be like, oh, this is what you're all about, right? But I'm not magic. The thing is that when it's in your own head, it's like so much bigger, and there's so many, it's so multi-layered. Nobody else could understand it. It's on different levels, right? And that's fine. There's allowed to be like intricacies in your work, but it's not helpful for marketing. And so what I'm able to do is cut through all of those layers of kind of padding around it and go, okay, so here's the thing that you care about and that your clients also care about. And that's the thing we're going to market. Okay, now let's learn how to do that. Because I think that, well, I know that especially anyone in the business that you had in the helping business, and you're still in the helping business, but it's in a different way now. Like my life coaches, my healers, anyone kind of in that realm, like we're so precious about ideas, right? Ideas are so important, and it's all like, and so I really strip a layer of that away for people, because usually the people who I've worked with have gone through this cycle of not being clear for long enough that they're like, just tell me what I need to do and say. And I'm like, I can do that.
It's like you're in your business jar and you can't see what the label says on the outside, and then you talk to someone like you, and then like the tools you have in UIB to like figure out like what your message is, and it sounds so scary. I remember you being like, not that cool, being like, you either have your message and you have no idea what your message is, or you're like obsessed with what your message is.
Those are like the two types of people. People who are like, I need a message, what? Or the ones who are like thinking about their message for 4 years and haven't made any progress in their business yet.
And you can't make any progress. You can't get going. You can't create. And that's why it's so hard. Like, until I did that work with you in UIB, like, I hated writing blog posts because I didn't have a point to them. Like, I remember after that call, like, I was selling these physical products at the time, and I like put a sale on half the stock because I'm like, that's the wrong stock. Like, it became so clear, and it was such a beautiful like simplicity. Like, when you know what you're doing, you can very quickly just get rid of everything else, and it's so freeing to suddenly be able to cross things off your to-do list, which is my favorite thing to do.
And I've seen a lot of people go through other marketing programs. So here's kind of what I've been saying recently about kind of how I fit in with other programs that are out there. And a lot of other programs out there, there's amazing courses you can take on all kinds of things to learn about your business, right? They're all amazing. But many of them that most people are signing up for as beginners are at step 5. And they don't teach you steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are like really nailing down your message and really understanding your target market and actually creating some packages that are going to make sense, not just like, here's my hourly rate. So they kind of bypass that, and they're like, great, here's how you're going to market, make a website, and I'll teach you how to blog, but there's not the focus. And so, or they'll take a course like what you teach, and like, here's how you set up your email list, right? But then they get in and they're like, what do I write in my emails?
What do they write in the emails? And it's also like list building. Like, everyone knows they have to build their list. But there's no why. Why do you have to? So you've got people who will buy from you. Buy what from you? Like, what are you going to email? Like, why? And there's so many whys that I think are unanswered because someone else said so. Like, everyone says you need to build your list. Everyone says, and it's all true. But
it's all true.
Until you've got your own why, you can't. It doesn't make sense.
Focus.
For sure.
I see a lot of people who have been trying a lot of things. Like, my clients work hard. They're not just sitting back going, well, actually some of them get to the point where they're like, I don't even know what to do anymore, so I'm just not going to do anything. Right. But they usually come in going, I am like, going to networking events, and I've like got my business card made, and I'm like, writing on my website, and I'm blogging every day, and I'm posting on my Facebook page, and there's no shares. Right. So they're doing so many things. So they're not, you're not lazy. This is you. You're not doing anything, but you're probably getting to a point. Most people who work with me are getting to the point where they're like, obviously nobody wants what I offer. My business is never going to work. Like, I'm just doomed to fail. People just don't like what I'm putting out there. Right. And none of that is true. It's not true. It's not true. It's just that you're inside the jar with your swirl of all of 1,000 things. And the outside people don't get it yet. They don't understand what you're actually selling. And to you, it's super clear, right? And this is where I have to do a little bit of educating for people of like, it's not clear, right? Here's how I can see it's not clear. Here's how I'm going to show you that it's not clear. Because in our head, it's jumbly, but it's clear, right? It's like, I know what I do, but I just need a half an hour to explain it to you. And then you'll get it.
And
right?
I still get that now. Like people talk to me and they're like, so what's the difference between these things that you offer? Because I offer way too many things, and never mind. But I offer way too many. Like, what's the difference between ConvertKit Club and ConvertKit Rockstars and ConvertKit blah blah blah? And I'm just like, why is it not obvious? They've all got their own beautiful sales pages.
It's so clear.
And then you saw, it's so clear. And then, but I think it's like it's almost stepping up into your like expert status to be like, I'm going to advise you on what you need. You're either a good client or you're not a good client, and sort of owning that you're going to decide for them how you can best help them. And that's something that I think a lot of people do UIB are sort of like, no, I'm the expert. And that was one of the exercises you gave me. I remember actually, it was like, write a list of like 20 reasons why I'm the expert. And that was so important. I told you, I keep going back to the UIB stuff. I go through it every few months.
Like, when were you in it? 2013?
I think it was the beginning of 2014. It was the third one in the beginning of 2014. Wow. And it's the only like business course that I regularly go back to. Even though it's nothing to do with the business I'm in now. It's just those exercises where I use them and I tell other people them, and the exercises in there, so much clarity. But the thing about the expert status, it's like stepping up and owning who you are, what you do, and how you can help people, because no one wants to hire or work with someone who they don't believe knows that they can help them with every ounce of their being, because they're too much for everyone for everything.
Well, and when I started my business, like very, very, very beginning stages, way before I worked with you or created this program, I remember I'd get on client consult calls. People would say, oh, I might want to work with you. And I'd get on a call and I wasn't even sure I could help them. I was scared that they would say yes to working with me. I would hang up and go, fuck, what, like, fingers crossed, they just say no. And then they'd write back and say they want to work with me, and I'd be scared. Right? That was not a good feeling. And that's like when I started to feel that, I was like, oh, okay, you need to like figure this out. And so what I realized was that it's because I wasn't quite sure what I was offering. I was like, at the time I was still doing marketing stuff, but I was kind of also doing life coaching. And I was kind of like, it was kind of very big. I was like, I'll help you with your business. And it wasn't like, it was like, God, what if they want stuff I can't do? Like, what if they want to learn about this or that? And I don't know those things. And so when I was able to focus in on just the things that I was the most excited about offering, that I was the best at offering, that I knew I could get people results, it was so easy to convert clients, because I genuinely on the calls could be like, I can help you. And if I couldn't, I'd say, I can't help you with this. Here's what you should do instead. And it just changed everything in my business. And I think that's what a lot of people leave UIB with, is just that clarity of what they do and what they don't do. Sort of, it's like
what they don't do. It's the confidence to say no, knowing that other clients will come, and knowing that like saying no does not mean that you are turning down work. It does not mean that you are not going to have other clients. It's you get to work in your zone of genius. And when you start to really do that, that's what you become known for, and that's where the traction comes. And traction,
you can charge more.
Like everything falls into place once you kind of start saying no to things. I think that's actually a really big turning point in most people's businesses. The first time they say no to something that has quite a lot of money associated with it, but they know
or
it's
anybody.
not quite right.
When I was starting,
that's true. That's true.
To anybody. Come on, give me the money, right? $50, whatever.
I did everything for everyone when I started as a VA. I did.
You totally did. Yeah,
I'd do anything for anyone, and you
and
have
to be fair, like it's a good way to learn, right? It's a good way to get experience. If you've never had any clients and someone comes to you, say yes, right? Take the money, take the experience. But it's when you get to this point where you're like, it's just, you're sort of like, it's not feeling right? And maybe I need the money, and you're just kind of at that tipping point. That's when this is a really important thing to start to pay attention to. It's like, do I feel confident when I'm talking to someone about exactly what I can give them? Can I articulate to them what problem they're having? Can I show them that I have a result for it? And can I show them like that I already have a package created that fixes this? Right? And most people, when you're starting, can't say yes to any of those things. And as you go, right, years go by, you start to be able to say yes more and more. But it doesn't have to take that long. Like we talked about, we can do messaging. I mean, I can do messaging and super, super fast with people.
You can. You really can. It's your superpower. It's your absolute
Yeah,
superpower.
I think because people overthink it, right? It's just like, I'm like,
They do.
keep it simple. This is simple, right? Your clients aren't overthinking it like this, so we got to like get onto their level.
But you sort of help people with the message, and then you give them the next task. They haven't got time to spend
Yeah.
work. Like, that's like week one, and like, we're moving on, keep up. And so you can't spend like months faffing about with it, because you just have to, the next task is coming.
Totally. And it's intentional, because you could spend 6 months really nailing down your true message. But why? Like,
it doesn't mean anything that's out there in the world anyway. Like, until you are telling someone it, until you're creating content and packages and working with people on your message out there in the world, and then you can tweak it slightly. It's not like fixed in stone. I think that's another thing people freak out about.
It'll always change. It'll always change.
But until that point, you aren't going to be doing anything else. There's no point. There's no why hasn't been answered. And the other thing I wanted to touch on about UIB and how you work and what you teach is that obviously I help people with tech a lot, and I show them a lot of systems, and I use a lot of systems. I think tech systems are great, but one thing I really love about UIB is you do not need virtually anything to get started with it. Like,
yeah. Well, what I was going to say, what I was going to say earlier, I'm glad you brought this up again, is that I've been thinking lately about how like not trendy UIB is. So like, I don't teach I'm not going to talk about how you can use Facebook Messenger bots to get clients, or how you can be on Periscope. Wait, no, Periscope's not a thing anymore. Okay, you need Instagram stories now. Like, those things are trends that come and go. Even like, ConvertKit is cool right now. Maybe it won't always be cool, right? There's always trends in like the technology side of stuff. I suck at the technology side. I am just the worst. And I don't want to have to always be, I mean, it's important to understand, what's happening and learn how to use it.
Yeah.
But this is core marketing stuff that no matter what you do in your business, or if you change businesses, you're going to use over and over and over. Every single time I create a new program, I use this I go to my UIB, work through it. So it's not like trendy stuff. You're not going to be overwhelmed with like the technology. I don't teach you a single thing about technology, right? I'm like, you should probably get a website. Here's some ways that you can get that started. Because you don't need it, first of all.
You don't.
A basic website up is great, because I do love for you to have a place to put content, because it just feels more real when you're like, I wrote my page.
Oh my goodness, it's all coming back to me. Everything in UIB that I like. I don't know what the exercise was, but there's something about like telling people I had a business, like introducing myself as having a business, like talking to people, saying it, making it real, and that was so powerful too. Right. Anyway, and that was on having a website, making it real. It's stepping up into it.
Yeah. And something like the telling people is like gonna have a way bigger effect on the success of your business than learning how to use a Facebook Messenger bot.
It's true.
Right? And it's so much easier. Like, it does not take a lot of time. So I think that's what I love about the program too, is that it's very bite-sized. It's like, here's a thing, go do it. Here's the next thing, go do it. And short of doing some market research, which takes a little bit more time, and we have an implementation week right in the middle.
Awesome, yeah.
Do the research, and then we have a whole week for you to kind of continue it.
Yep.
Short of that, everything's quite short and sweet, because there's no sense in like, go learn how to do Facebook ads. Like, that's not the thing that's going to help them.
You have to have the clients, you have to have the traction, and then you can start, if you want to, start to play with tech systems and stuff and find the right one for you. But my opinion is they all work, they're all fine. Just pick one and like make the most of whichever one you pick, but just pick something. Or you can outsource it once you've got the traction and you're making some money. So hire someone else to help you set it all up. I think those are the main things I had on my notes to chat about. Do you want to talk a little bit more about UIB and the structure? And
I'll talk a bit about how it works. Yeah, so it's a 5-week live program. So it's taught live. It's not like here's the material, good luck, bye kind of thing. You get all the material at the beginning of the week. So it's a couple audios and transcripts, and then worksheets for every week. And then we have a live call every Thursday, a couple times.
So good. I was so skeptical of like group talking, but I 100% challenged myself to talk every single.
And you did, yeah.
I did. I talked every
I was like,
this is my first proper business course, and I was just like, I've invested a lot of money for me at the time. It's not a lot of money to me now, but it was a lot of money at the time, and I invested a lot of money in it, and I'm like, I'm going to do this I'm going to do everything. I did every single activity, and it paid off. Like, it paid off so much. So I love the group calls.
Yeah,
and this is other people's questions. Like, people always say this about group calls, but it's amazing.
People say to me all the time, they're like, I just don't really know that the group calls are going to be helpful. Like, I need my specific question answered. And I'm like, okay, so two things. Number one, you'll get your question answered on the call.
Yeah.
The call, you got your question answered. And two, I guarantee that somebody else has your question. Your question is not that unique. It is not that special. No offense. It's and that's why I love running this in a group, because you start to see, oh my God, it's not just me that's confused. It's not just me that's struggling with this. Like, everybody is, which is really, can make us feel really good. So the group calls are a couple different time slots so that you can choose the one that works best for you. Because I know there's some folks in the UK and Australia and stuff who have different time requirements. And those calls are no new content. So they're just come in, ask your questions, listen to everybody else. I've had people email me after the course and say, you know what, I didn't show up to a single group call, but I listened to all of the recordings, and like, it was the best thing I ever did. Like, I wish I could have more recordings of all the calls forever, because they are really, really useful. And then there's a Facebook group where I answer every single question too. So it's not like a huge group where you get lost in like a mix of like thousands of people. I literally answer every question. We have a thread every week, and if your question's in there, I will answer it. So there's a lot of time for you to kind of work through the material and then get feedback from me while we're kind of moving through everything. Yeah. And that's how it works.
Yeah. So I don't know when you're watching, whenever anyone watching this is watching this, when you're watching this, but when do doors close? Because I'm late recording this, but
November 2nd. So that's in a week from now. Yeah,
I get this up today. Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah. So November 2nd. What day of the week is that?
Thursday,
November the 2nd, doors close. And wherever you're watching this, somewhere around this video is a link to a page where I talk a little bit more about my experiences of UIB and how it was the first proper business course I did, like a higher level investment one.
I feel so honored.
But yeah, so I think before that I'd bought like a bundle of products for like $97.
Yeah,
it's the first like proper thing I did. And it remains this day like one of the top two. Is this and Lucky Bitch Money Boot Camp. I swear, the two things that 100% changed my life. I always, whenever top investment posts that you see, like I always mention this. It was so important. It continues to be. Like, I think, so I obviously don't have the pillow fort business anymore, and I do this, whatever this is, it doesn't really matter. I have clients, I have traction. It's all like, I know what I'm doing each day. I don't know what I call myself. It doesn't really matter when you know what your message is really. But what was I going to say? I still think so fondly of what I learned. Like, I'm so influenced by what I learned in Uncage Your Business. And I've gone on to work with you a number of times since then, but it's the attitude. If you like my kind of vibe, like, so much of it is so heavily influenced by Uncage Your Business in terms of do it your way, break the rules, like learn the rules and then just break them. So you don't have to blog consistently. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, and my favorite one that I break all the time, and it works for me so well, is you're meant to send emails with one thing per email. Like, that's the rule. Like, one call to action per email. I send sporadic emails, sometimes like once a month, sometimes like 3 times in a week. It just happens. And they have like 8 different things in. Thing 1, thing 2, thing 3. And people love my emails because that's easier for me. And so when you do it your way and you break the rules and you ditch all the shoulds and you change it to once and then you cross it off if it's not even true anymore, like, it's I think as long as you're doing all of that with a clear focus. So that's the difference, right? It's
like being sporadic with emails, having 8 different things, but that are all on different topics all the time, without a clear niche, without a clear like focus for people to really understand what you're doing. That's when that stuff doesn't work. And so when they say you gotta be consistent, you gotta be, I've seen people who blog on schedule once a week and they do all of the things, but their message is not clear. They're using all kinds of industry jargon. They're, the life coaches.
Oh yeah, I love the jargon.
Yeah, right. And the life coaches who are talking about, really living more authentically, and their blog posts are there once a week with consistency, but they are not resonating with people in the way that they would like them to. So it's really not, it's not about a prescribed formula for how to do things. That's why I don't teach marketing that way. I'm not like, okay, you must have one blog post here and must have this and that, right? Like I can give you suggestions and I'll give you some templates and stuff for that because you need something to get started.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as long as you're doing whatever the hell you're doing with a clear message and a clear focus, then
enjoy, like connecting to people. You know who you're talking to, you know what you're saying, you've got that down. Like you can kind of break the rules once you know what the rules are and why they're there, because you're just like, no, but I know how to talk to my people. Yeah. And this is what I'm gonna do because I know.
And the biggest test of this. So if anyone's watching this and they're like, I think I'm clear, but I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm clear enough. So the litmus test is if you had to tell somebody what you do right now out loud, what would you say? So to answer this, I want you to we'll practice saying out loud and then write it down. Some people want to write it down first, and I know they'll cheat and they will. So write it down first, but then actually say it out loud. Because often, right, we write this thing where we're like, I help heart-centered, conscious entrepreneurs really learn how to take their business by the horn so they can live a life. Okay? And they're like, yeah, I know what that is. But first of all, when you say it out loud, you would never say that to someone in person.
That's true.
Somebody was like, what do? You would never be like, and you wouldn't, because usually they're 3 lines to those statements.
Yeah.
I just gave my group this week an exercise to do this. And so I do think there's value in it, but saying it out loud is going to tell you right off the bat whether or not people get it.
It's true. You have to
do it. Go to 3 or 4 people in your life. Doesn't matter if they know who you are or they know what you do or not. And give them this pitch and then ask them to tell you what you do.
That's a really good exercise.
Because they're going to be or they're going to be like, oh, it's really clear you do this. And if they get it right, that's great. If they get it wrong, then there's some work to be done. So
especially if your target audience is people who are not in the online business world. I see so many people whose target audience is not online business world people who are using language of online business world and expecting regular muggles to understand what they're on about. For example, I was talking to this lady and she helped over 50s get their zest for life back. Over 50s women get their zest for life back, and she had one of her menu items was packages. And I'm like, packages are things that come in the post, they're delivery items. That's not how to work with somebody. You can't use online business language if your target audience is not fellow online business owners.
Yeah.
And I think you're one of the big groups of people who do I think most people probably who do UIB are not marketing to other, working with fellow online business
they're
owners.
usually
mostly
they're working with people, the regular
real people,
the regular folks, not like us online business folks. We're weird. Yes. And so one of the biggest things that I do is we do market research. And so I'll give you some structure to go out and talk to people, ask people questions, post surveys, all of that stuff. That you need to do, and people don't do it because it's hard.
It is.
It's not hard. It's harder than making photo quotes on Instagram. Right?
It is.
It's muckier. It's vulnerable. First of all, it's scary.
It is really
there's
scary.
all this fear of what people don't get it, what people don't respond, right? And that happens lots of times. People don't respond, right? So we figure that out. But it's not as easy as I'll just make a quote and post it, and I'll feel really nice about myself. And what I see is the difference between those two things is, when you're just posting, so you're writing blog posts and you're sharing on Instagram and you're doing all these things, you're telling people, right? You're talking at them, essentially.
Yes.
And when you're talking to people and doing market research, you're listening to them. And so it's a really big difference to just be like, I'm going to tell people about my business. I'm going to tell people about my business. And instead of going, I'm going to ask people about the things that my business helps them with. And I'm going to listen to them. And then I'm going to create a business that actually is going to help them, and then I'm going to tell them about it, right? So we often
help them in a way that actually helps them, not help them how I want them. I want to help them. They're different things. How you want to help people and how they want to be helped.
So we often skip that step and we make assumptions about what people want and what their true challenges are. And then there's a mismatch, right? You can spend all your time writing your website copy and writing your emails. But if there's a mismatch between what you are giving them and what they think they need, then it's never going to work. So that's a big piece that we work on, because you can't do anything else in your business until you have that. So
it's a big piece, but it's bite size. You can
it's a big piece. Yeah. It's not it's an important piece. Let's put it that way. And it does not have to be hard. You do not have to do it for 6 months before you can do anything with it.
For those sorts of things, I'm always like, I'm going to put on my big girl pants and I'm just going to hit send. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to post it. Big girl pants takes a moment to send it and then it'll be fine. And it always is fine. But stuff like that can be really, really scary if you feel like you've been talking to a black hole for ages. But
Yeah.
when they start
And that's why I
reply,
love doing it in a group, because the group's got your back, right? You can cross referrals, like, hey guys, I'm having trouble finding someone for my survey. Does anyone know someone who fits this bill? Great. Could you send this to them? Right. So you've got support. It's not as scary when you've got other people who are doing the same thing that's scary, right? It's like,
and everyone's in a similar place in their business, and everyone gets it, and everyone makes the progress you make over UIB is the most productive, like separate to everything you get clear on. It's the most productive, like 5 weeks is in now, 5 weeks of your life.
Yeah. Because you're actually doing things, right? It's not just like, here's some nice ideas, right? It's not like, okay, write down your message on a piece of paper or in Evernote. Like, we're actually going to go, okay, well, now how does this apply to your business? How are you going to use this in your business? Here's what you're going to go and do. So it's like you're actually creating things for your business as you go, instead of learning it all and then waiting till the end going, how do I apply this? So, but you have some awesome free stuff.
Yes, I do. So somewhere around this video, there is a link to a page, like I said, where I talk a little bit more about my experiences with UIB and why I love it so much. And if you sign up through my affiliate link on the page, which is linked somewhere, it'll all be linked somewhere. I did that about this for ages. I wanted to offer an affiliate bonus for anyone who signs up through my link. And I was going to choose something. And then I realized that I have so many different people who could all benefit. I've got so many different things going on in my business, but it's all working because I know what each thing is, that it didn't make any sense to pick what people should do, because all parts of my business, the ConvertKit people, my tech specialists, all these different types of people will benefit so much from UIB if they are earlier and they're less clear and it's all just hard at the moment. Mm-hmm. So what I have decided to do, instead of telling people what to have, is I will offer $400 credit towards anything that I do in the next year. And you can mix and match that however you want. You can have a ton of time in ConvertKit Club, that's $35 a month.
That's a ton of time in there then.
It is a ton of time. Ton of time in ConvertKit Club, ConvertKit Rockstars, my group program. I'll probably be running again early next year. You can do
which I helped you make.
You did that. ConvertKit Rockstars came out of a different program I did with Becca. I keep going back to work with her. Becca has these magical powers where she launches something and I'm just like, no, I'm not going to run a group program like that. I don't pay any attention until I read the sales page. I'm like, oh shit, it's me. She's done it again. This has happened 4 times now. So if you have been watching this video and you're just like, it's not for me, go and look at the sales page. It probably is. So ConvertKit Rockstars, my group program, Rock Your Tech Specialism, you can get that for the $400. One-to-one work with me, ConvertKit strategy. There's a whole list of stuff that's currently available. Awesome. Anything else in the next year, mix and match it however you want. It's $400 credit to my world to be used anytime in the next year if you sign up through my affiliate link. And there's no pressure to use it. Do all the stuff in UIB and then you can decide anytime how you'd like to work with me. Maybe it is the ConvertKit stuff you want to get help with, or maybe it's you want a strategy call to plan out a launch or something like that. You can use it however you want over the next year. So
I love that, because I don't teach any of the tech stuff. So and a lot of people are like, hey, so next step is set up my email list. How do I do it? And I'm like, go over here. Yeah. So it's actually a perfect step, because you're going to have everything you need, to write your emails and to kind of start that. But the tech side of it is not my jam. So
So that's what I'm offering. And if you've got any questions about UIB, there's probably somewhere. If you want to, you can send me an email. I'll have my email address somewhere. If you've got any questions you'd like to know about my experiences, if you've got any questions for Becca, I'm sure you can find her details and contact her to ask about it. And you should also join her group, free Facebook group, Uncaged Lifers, which is one of the original online business groups. So it's still going strong. I love it.
I know. Everyone's closing their groups now, and I'm like, nope, not doing it.
So if you got any questions, or there's people in there just chatting about their experiences and dithering about joining, so you can see some of their questions. So go and join Uncaged Lifers and see if you're interested in what's going on. And have we covered everything?
I think so. Yeah. Any questions? If you're not sure if your business is right for this, it is for online or service-based businesses who want to be mostly online. So whatever that means to you. If you're not sure if you have the right kind of business, shoot me an email and I can help you figure it out. If it's not the right one, I won't tell you to join, because that would suck. And any questions about how it works, or just whether it's right fit for any reason, come on over, ask me questions, post in the group, email me, email Lizzie.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Awesome.
It's been lovely chatting to you
Thanks.
today. Bye.
Bye.